Hi there, my name's Louis. I'm a poet and writer based in Manchester, and I actually had one of the first poems I got published was for the LGBTQ plus community centre in London. So I'm really grateful to them. Since then, I've done a couple of different things. So I went on BBC Radio Manchester, and I'm working with a gallery to do a video project. So I'm very grateful to this community centre for giving me a bit of faith in my work and publishing my work. So it's great to be back working with them, and this is a poetry workshop. It's I've called it Deconstructing Poetry because it's about not trying to focus on, not trying to see poetry as an alien art form, and trying to see it as a more accessible art form that anybody can write. So I think anybody can create poetry. So these three exercises will focus on the expression of emotion. The next exercise will describe the present moment, and then we'll be using everyday forms to create experimental modern poetry, because I think the best poetry can come from deconstructing the practice, hence the name. So for the warm-up exercise, if you get your paper and your pen at the ready, this is going to be an exercise in expressing emotion through poetry, through free writing. So this is not, you're not trying to write a poem just yet. Just write down how you're feeling today. The more honest and free-flowing, the better. Don't put it into sentences if you don't want to. Just write down words if that's helpful. Just write as if you're writing into a journal. So give yourself about 10 minutes to do this. You'll probably want about half a page of writing, maybe a bit more, but don't try and give yourself too much to work with. Be worked into a poem. So go ahead and pause here, and I'll see you in a bit, 10 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed that exercise, and that kind of allowed you to express some feelings that you're feeling. I know it's a strange time with isolation and lockdown, but it's a really great time to connect with creativity and to express your thoughts and feelings. Right now, writing is really helpful to me to kind of express my deeper feelings, how I feel about the issue, especially not if you're connecting with friends as much or seeing people you love as much. So I hope that exercise was helpful in doing that. And then so the next exercise, we're going to jump away from that. If you turn over the page and start a new page, this exercise is the second warm-up exercise, and it's designed to bring you into the present moment, and it can help you document your surroundings, so kind of bringing you back to where you are right now, rather than how exactly you're feeling. So it's quite simple, going back to basics. So if you describe the present moment using your five senses, just create 3 to 5 lines describing each sense. What can you hear? What can you smell? What can you touch? What can you taste? And what can you see? Don't worry about making the lines rhyme. So yeah, another 10 minutes to do that exercise, or as long as you need, to write a couple of lines of poetry about the present moment, using the sensories as talk about the present moment, using the senses as your stimulus. So pause the video here, and I will see you shortly. So, with the two exercises you've just created, we're now going to try and merge the two exercises. So, if you have 10 minutes to create a short piece of writing out of the two exercises, can you connect your emotions today to your surroundings? So, can you connect your free writing to what you've written about your surroundings, about what can you see? For example, how do your emotions taste? Do your thoughts have smells? You can structure however you'd like. And although structure can be important in poetry, it's important to try and not limit yourself. So don't try and write anything too structured or rhythmic yet. Don't worry about rhyming, that kind of thing. That will come later. Right, you should have something more solid now after you've done that exercise. Something pretty emotive and expressive about the present moment and your feelings. And hopefully something that documents that's helpful to you. So this next exercise is to kind of think about how you're going to structure this piece of writing into a poem. So what we're going to try and do is go through your piece of writing and mark exactly where you would like the line breaks to appear by hyphenating the text. So it's quite simple. So if you had a line of poetry, for example, if you had I feel annoyed at the government. So there you go. Got a couple of lines of poetry there out of just one sentence. Obviously it's not that great. Hopefully yours is a bit more expressive and emotive than that. Yeah, so this could be where you pause for a natural thought, or it's where you want to emphasize something, emphasize a word. So if you focus on that exercise next, so pause the video again, and I will see you shortly. Right, so for the final exercise, workshop's coming to an end now. This is designed to showcase a wide variety of poetic forms that can be used in poetry. So I'm a big fan of seeing things that have been that are trying to shake things up a bit, and not, go by the conventional stanza, or the lines or the rhyming structures. For example, so on the screen is going to appear a couple of examples. So you got Lawrence Ferlinghetti's work, and he was a painter and poet active in the 1960s who thought poetry needed to be accessible. So his poetry used several non-literary artistic forms such as jazz music and painting. And you can see an example, so it's not, he's really thought about the visual side of the poetry. How does it link to jazz music? Lawrence Ferlinghetti believed that poetry should be accessible, and it shouldn't be this some high art form that is seen as that can be quite alienated to a lot of people. It's more so about making it accessible, and how does it relate to other artistic forms, and something that's every day, something that everybody has access to. How can you translate that into poetry? And you can see this. So another example is going to appear on the screen, from a queer Muslim poet called Fatima Asghar, and she's written a poem called Immigrant Bingo, where she uses a bingo card as her unconventional use of form. And I think what all these poems show, by these poets, is to try and emphasize that poetry is accessible and it doesn't need to be rigid in its form. I think anyone can do it, and create something quite profound. So for this next exercise, you can use the poetry that you have written earlier in the workshop, or you can use something new that you want to write. If you want to talk about your LGBTQ plus identity in a similar way to the way that Fatima has, or if you want to express other aspects of your identity in poetry. So on the screen is going to appear a list of unconventional forms. So there is the shopping list, there's a to-do list, an album track list, a tweet, a book blurb, an ingredients label. So choose one of these or create your own if you've got some other crazy idea where you think the poetry might fit into. So pause here. Give yourself as long as you want on this exercise. It can be quite difficult to do, but I think it can be a really interesting exercise on how to kind of make poetry more accessible, and do something a bit more modern. So on the screen there are my handles for Instagram and Twitter, where you can get in touch with me if you need any more tips or help with your poetry, or if you, it'd be great if you could share what you've made in this workshop, and tag both me and the LGBTQ plus community centre in London, because we'd love to see your work and to see how this has been helpful to you. I hope it's provided a bit of therapy, or it's provided you with something fun to do to take your mind off what's going on in the world. Yeah, so thank you, and get in touch if you would like to.